Greetings, Earthlings! Welcome to another episode of Worldskills Stories. Click here to watch the first episode, or, if you already know what it is about, like the video and subscribe for more stories of the biggest professional competition in the world. Today we'll talk to Ana Prokopenia, Pastry and Confectionery competitor in the 2015 São Paulo edition and also a former member of the Worldskills Champions Trust. Hello, Ana. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Bruno. It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Please, Ana, tell us who you are.
So I'm a food engineer who lives in France for last 5 years, but originally I'm from Russia. And as a part of Russian national team, I was competing in São Paulo in 2015, and then I was a trainer for future champions for the Russian team.
I'm curious, how the professional education is given in Russia?
Well, I'm not sure for many countries, but in Russia, the biggest problem we have is the stigma which lies to the professional education. Because if I'm taking my example, after the school, I had to choose my profession, and everyone around me was not ready for my choice because I wanted to go to the professional school and become a great cook, great chef, and everyone was more like seeing my future in some art or in some science. I was very successful academically, so my family had high hopes for me, and some of them maybe preferred me to doing some IT or finance. And I decided that I want to spend my life working for something which passions me, and it was kitchen. I found out that there is a lot of passionate people around me when I did my studies, and I think that's the case for most of them. They had to do what they dream of. They had to really overcome a pressure from the society. So I'm not sure that it's the case in every... I think in France it's very different, because in France being a chef is very honored. So there's a lot of chefs, I don't know, on the TV you see best chef competition, etc. And people are like, when they say I want to be a chef, sometimes family can understand, but I know that some of my colleagues said they felt this pressure as well, because it's skill profession is something which takes a lot of courage to choose as a career path, and I experienced it myself. So usually in Russia you start learning the profession after the school. So I finished my standard education, like 11-year education. You have a choice to go after 9-year or 11-year to do professional education. I chose to spend more time with my school friends, and then I went to get a profession, and then usually you can start to work after 3 years of education. So I was quite aged in comparison with some of my colleagues from Worldskills when I finished my school, because I was like 21. And if I compare it with France, they have what is called the apprenticeship. So they go to school very early. They don't have to finish their whole education, so they choose a professional path quite early in life, and they start to work like in a pastry chef part-time, as a pastry chef, cooking chef part-time. So I think that's what the main difference between me and like many other vocational educational systems, that we have a different age of becoming a professional, and in case of Russia, it's kind of late in life. But it's not a problem, because you can choose to be a chef when you're 30, when you're 40. I know so many people who are really passionate about it. They would get like an academic degree, and then they would say, okay, this is not what I like. So they would go in the kitchen and get like some courses and start to do what they really want. So I think vocational education is changing. And I know that in Russia, a lot of change was due to Worldskills, because we had a national competition in 2019 in Kazan, and it was really inspirational for government in terms of the structure of vocational education. So they chose to follow the model of Worldskills learning to set up the system of examination, the profession, and it's really, I think it worked really well, because like it was such an update for educational system, and I know that all the big country of Russia, they really followed this idea of like implementing this criteria, this benchmark of skill excellence in the studying process, and it really reformed our educational vocational system. So I know that it's something I am not as familiar right now because I left Russia, but I know that Worldskills was something very beneficial for our educational system.
Amazing. It's good to know that Worldskills had this kind of impact.
It was just a huge impact. It was unbelievable, actually, because when I did my competition, it was 2015, like no one knew what is Worldskills. Like it was very, very unknown. And in 2019, like every small region, every school, they knew what is Worldskill. They were using standards, they were using system, etc. So it's a huge work which has been done, and I think it's very, very positive experience.
Yeah, I think each year more people know about Worldskills.
I mean, it's sometimes you get an impression it's a world best kept secret, but I know that in Russia it was before the competition, and now it's not the case. And like in France, you know that the next competition will be in Lyon. Common people don't know about Worldskills, but people from profession, sometimes they say, oh yeah, I know someone who competed, or yes, I competed myself, etc. So I think it's inside some perspective, it's quite known, especially on the professional level.
Like other subjects, is a bubble, but it's a bubble that's growing.
Yes.
Okay. And about your skill, the profession, your professional patisserie confectionery, and about the skill inside a competition, inside Worldskills.
So I told you earlier that my choice of profession was not very welcomed in my family and amongst people in my circle. And I think it's also because they didn't understood what the profession was looking like. Because I think in Russia, when people talk about working in the kitchen, sometimes you get this image of hard work and very repetitive tasks and very little chance for creativity. But in my head, I had this image of something spectacular in terms of all the freedom you get when you're working with food. Because pastry, like every gastronomical skills actually, because we have cooking, we have pastry, and we have baking. Actually, it's 3 different skills in a Worldskills competition. And for me, it's something which really like close in the real life, because first I wanted to be a cook, but then because of Worldskills, I got an opportunity to be a chef. So I was like, okay, I will change my qualification. It was quite early in school, so it wasn't very hard. And I started to look more into the pastry and confectionery. The profession itself, it's a very creative, very rich profession. Of course, it's a very hard job because especially in the pastry, you have to wake up really early. You have to go to the shop sometimes at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And start your day, which is it's quite hard to do, I can say. And also physically, it's something which is very challenging. You have to manipulate really heavy things, etc. And this is why sometimes we also get a stigma against women in this profession, because sometimes it's viewed like women are not strong enough to be a chef. Yes, exactly. You're rolling your eyes, but it's hard, especially when you're starting, because if it's you and some boy, people will always choose a boy. So I think women in our profession, they have to do twice as much to be seen equal, which is the case of many professions. But I think it's important to mention just to inspire like girls who trying to be like you're not alone. You can still prove everyone that you are great. And I think it's changing recently. The stigma is changing a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it's fully gone. And when you start your day, you cook, and everyone knows how to cook because we all do something in the kitchen. And well, almost everyone knows how to cook. The difference is that you have to be very, very respectful for the hygienic and safety norms, because you're not cooking for yourself, and you're cooking for a huge amount of people who will taste your work. And it's a huge responsibility. So you have a direct impact on human lives. But this is where the satisfaction lies, because you have a direct impact on human lives. Like in many professions, what you do the result can be like separated in years. And when you're a pastry chef, you do something and a few hours later, someone enjoys it and they will be like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful cake. It's so tasty, etc. Because we all love sugar. It's some way to highlight people's life. And for me, it's also the way to, like, pastry is very important because it's as an artificial skill, it's a way to have a healthier life in the sense of, like, we're eating too much sugar, but when we're eating it mindfully, when we're paying a little bit more for, like, artisanal skills, we actually making a right choice and enjoying the full potential of joy it can be brought by sugar in comparison with something like industrial, which we eating without thinking. So I think it's a very important profession. It's really, really satisfactional. At least it was for me. I say it was because I was doing like I've spent some time in the kitchen lab for at least 8 years, I think, because I was like developing and I was exposed to international community and to many great professionals. I wanted to develop myself and learn something more. So I went to the engineering school and I became a food scientist because I wanted to understand what's happening inside the food. And I truly believe that sometimes people don't understand to which extent it's interesting what's happening in the kitchen. And we know a lot more about what's happening in space in comparison in what's happening in our frying pan. So it's something which is extremely interesting to study. And I was lucky enough today to find in my work both professionals who are still keeping their artisanal work and like some science work, some research, some innovations, and I fusion them together. So for me, it was possible because of Worldskills. I'm not lying when I'm saying that in many, many ways. You also asked what is the difference between pastry skill and the pastry competition, like Worldskills competition. And the main difference is that when you are competing, you have to be good in everything. So in pastry competition, when I was competing at least, our skill was divided to different parts. It's called pastry and confectionery because some of it is linked to making, for example, cakes on miniatures, mini desserts, restaurant dessert. And some part is linked to the confectionery work. So you have to work with chocolate, you have to work with sugar, you have to make a bigger piece of chocolate or sugar, depends on the year. And for me, the difference is that in real life, as a pastry chef, you probably will be sticking to one of these professions. For example, you can be, if you work in a restaurant, you will be doing restaurant desserts. And there's a lot of particularities about this. If you will be working in a chocolate shop, you will be working with chocolate and you can spend whole your life trying to be better to work in chocolate and you always have something to learn. It's an amazing material. If you will be like a pastry chef and working in a pastry shop with a vitrine, etc., it's another skill. So for me, the more complicated part was to just fusion everything, learn how to do everything, learn how to work with different materials in a very short time. Because as I mentioned, when I had 21 years, so at the age of competing, I barely finished my school, so I didn't have any working experience. I didn't had any like real life experience beside of learning. And it's okay because Worldskills is a benchmark of educational systems. It's not about like, it's not as best chef in the world. It's a little bit different. But my competitors, for example, French competitor, they had an experience of working for like 7 years already. So I'm not sure, maybe less, but it's many years. So it was a real work. And of course, it's different, but still, it's not about winning the competition. It's about the experience to participate in it.
Yeah, we can feel the passion you have for your skill in your speech. It's tangible. And also, I think one thing that you said resonates a lot with another areas of human knowledge, because if you think about medicine, you have medics who treat mouth, medics who treat heart, and they are both medics, but completely different professions. Also with design, also with pastry and confectionery and bakery. And the more you know about a skill, a trade, a profession, you understand that each one is a single one. and you can label all of them about one thing and put in one box, but there are thousands of small little boxes inside those boxes we made. So
I think that's why Worldskills is such a great showcase for skills, because for adults, you have World Chocolate Masters, you have World Pastry Cup, you have a special competition for ice cream makers, special competition for a restaurant dessert, and like they all great, but you're always very limited in terms of the showcasing. And Worldskills is such a great representation of what the profession really looks like. And I think that the most important part is something which is doing for local school, because you have many school children who are visiting the event, and they learn about profession, and they actually can see how great these people are, how they're happy to do the trade. And I think this is just amazing. It's such an unmatched experience to have like children looking you working and seeing what they would be. Oh, wow, it's so beautiful. It's like chocolate. I want to eat it all. And you're like, oh, I'm so proud of having my skill.
You should. It's interesting that you said that, because past episode, I interviewed a person who was responsible for the opening ceremony, closing ceremony, the medals of 2015, the one you participate. And she told me that she was doing this specific job, but there was a huge team of people working for Worldskills for the event. And some of her colleagues were responsible for going into the schools, explaining what the competition was. She said that they made like a monopoly game and play with the children in the schools so they can understand the skills, professions, and learn a little bit more about that. So when did you first hear about the competition?
Well, when I was at school, I got really lucky because my school professor was an expert for pastry in Russia. And actually, the year I competed, it was first year we competed as in this skill, so everything was very new for us. And she was proposing me to try my forces in competing in the national competition. So I did national competition first, and then they were like, okay, but you need to do regional competition to get to national competition. I was like, okay. So I did regional competition, and then I did national competition again. So I actually had to win 3 times to get right to go to São Paulo, but it was worth it. So, and I got like very, very lucky with the fact that she was interested in this movement, and it was so new. So we discovered a lot of things together, especially when we had like a test project. We had to translate everything, and some things were like, what is that? I mean, I remember there was an entremet, and it was in time where internet was not so rich. It's hard to imagine now, like really, that you cannot have some information on the internet, but it was true regarding some very specific information. So I remember I went to the library and I took a book, like a dictionary, like a gastronomic French dictionary, very, very like huge thing. And I read that entremet is something which is served between courses. It's like a small taste, but it wasn't at the competition. So it was changed the meaning of having like entremet is a kind of mousse cake of this size. But I couldn't even find it in the dictionary. So it was so rich in terms of learning, which I did because of the competition, because we had to like go out of our comfort zone and learn everything from I don't know where. I don't know how we did it, but it was amazing.
Amazing story. So, about your years in the competition, because I know you were also in Champions Trust, but what were the highlights when you were a competitor?
When you are a competitor, you think that your job is winning a medal. So you don't have anything else in life. And you really work 24/7. You have a huge responsibility because you have a lot of important people who come to you and say, okay, we really hope you win. And you're like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will do everything that depends on you. So you have a lot of stress. I know that it was something very challenging in terms of event, and I would never wish, like, for example, my children to compete in some kind of competition because it's like such a stressful set up such a huge stake. And of course, then you come and you wait for the closing ceremony for the medal award, and you think that it ends there. But actually, it just begins there. Because for me, I had a great honor to be chosen to be part of Worldskills Champion Trust. And Champion Trust is a kind of a group of young people, of Worldskills champions. So you have to compete and be on the international level on the competition, who then continue to represent the movement, to talk about what are the benefits of this kind of event, how people and society can benefit from this kind of exposure to professionals, etc. So it was very interesting, very enriching, and I think that my highlight is the exposure to international community, because before this, I only knew how things work in my country. But then I became like a global citizen, so I went to a huge amount of different countries. I met a lot of different people. It really changed my way of seeing the world, and also changed my future life, because my career understood that I don't have to do studies, for example, in my country, and I was very interested in going somewhere abroad, so I chose France. And then I decided to be like a scientist, and I think this is something very important, and without the Worldskills, it wouldn't be the same. So I think it's very important when you're a competitor to be focused on your medal, but the best thing you got from the competition, even if you win your medal, is connections, is a network, is the professional colleagues who actually are becoming lifelong friends. And I think this is what Worldskills was about for me.
Nice. I won medal. I won bronze medal. I won best of the nation medal, but I would trade them both for the opportunity to be on Champions Trust, because I never knew about Champions Trust. And I think it's so amazing that you and Chirag were competitors. You did not won medals, but you did part of Champions Trust. It's so much better than a medal, really.
So Champion Trust is a group of young champions who are selected. So you can be selected for a maximum of 2 terms. In my case, it was for the competition in Abu Dhabi and for the competition in Kazan. And they have to be very diverse in many levels. So you have to have a representation of different skill, of different countries, of different gender. We're always trying to keep it very different in terms of the experience people can bring, because like we have a lot of learn from everyone in the competition. And the job is to be like young ambassadors of Worldskills movement, because sometimes it's Worldskills is a competition for young people, but you get to have old people to talk about the competition of young people. So they're very professionally eligible for that, but sometimes the impact is not the same as when you have someone who just went through the competition and speaking about it with all the passion and the experience. So this is why Champion Trust was created, and I think it's one of the best parts of Worldskills, honestly. I may be a little bit biased, but...
Okay, you are allowed to be biased. Give me a bad, a negative, or a learning experience that you had.
It's 3 things which mean the same. I mean, you can always learn from a negative experience. I was thinking about this question, and I have a situation which happened during my competition. It was the 3rd day, and the 3rd day is a showpiece day. So we had to create a huge 1 meter size showpiece from sugar, and it's a very very technical, very serious task. It's kind of the highlight of what you can do, because it's very artistic, and so little quantity of people know how to work with sugar today. So for me it was very stressful, and I made the best which I could. And just 10 minutes before the end call, I touched the table very unfortunately, and my sculpture falls down and it breaks in pieces. And I was like, all my life I would be like, okay, but during the competition, how people feel when something breaks, and I knew how they feel. So I was like, okay, And I had to do a very hard discipline exercise because, of course, for me at this moment, everything was ended. I wasn't going to get like a medal or even the medallion because it's such an important part of the competition. But I knew that I had to compete fourth day. And fourth day, I was quite confident in what I was preparing. So it was an important day for me. And I had to switch my mindset from being an individual competitor to being a team member. Because, in Worldskills, you also have points for team. And at this moment, even though for me, personally, it was like end of the game, I knew that my fourth day can still bring some point to the team. So I had to really quickly change my motivational system and started to work for my team, for other people, knowing that I won't be awarded for this competition not anymore. So I think it's something which was really hard to do in the moment, and it can be like a very negative experience in terms of just when it happens, you want to just leave everything and go back to Russia straight away, the first plane. But the fact that I was able to switch my perspective, I think it served me in life many times because I learned how to think not only about myself, but about my team. And, today everyone talks about teamwork, but I think some little people actually experience teamwork in the best way. So for me, it was a really learning opportunity.
Nice story. And people should really have in mind when listening to you talking that when that happened, you were very young. And with something like that happens, it really can destroy someone. And you overcome that. And people should remember that you were just 20 or 21 when you experienced that.
Sometimes I didn't think that actually, because I wasn't the best in my competition. I couldn't, even if my sculpture was perfectly stable, I couldn't win a medal. My work was not the same level as for my rivals, but this story gave me such an anecdote, and it always so emotional that I spoke to many people, and I think the potential of this happening in case of inspiring people and helping them to connect with my story is probably better than what I've got if my sculpture was perfectly whole. Sometimes you don't know. It depends what you can harvest from your experience. It's never about experience itself.
Yeah, because really, when things go right, you don't really learn anything. Only in failure or only when things go wrong that you learn something. So it's very good that we had the chance to have those stories. Because when I was at my school phase, the first time in 98, I didn't classify as anything. I bombed really, really bad. And then 1 year later, I won the school phase, the regional, and the national, and went to Korea. So those kind of stories really what matters now, because we can pass this kind of experience to a new generation or to other people. So a good, positive, emotional situation.
When I first stepped into the changing room in international competition, I was really scared because, these people are your rivals. People you see in front of you is someone you're competing with. And you really have to imagine that the image of rivals, especially in films, etc., is that it's people who can do bad things to you. And I was just shocked because this is not at all the atmosphere we were meeting. And I think the fact that the people in the changing room were also children, and we just met someone who is really high level in your professional, and you were excited to see what they prepare. I was just shocked because everyone was so friendly, and actually in the end of the competition, we were all hugging and very happy that it ended, and really supporting for each other. And some people would share some equipment or share things with others. Even though it's a competition and some people have a really high stakes on it, I think this is something which really marked me as an experience. And I understood that even at the highest level, not everything is about the competing with others. Sometimes it's about creating together something very beautiful, such as showpieces, etc. So highlighting your profession and your passion. So this is something I really adored.
Beautiful story. Thanks for that.
We already talked about the fact that the most important thing you take from the competition is not the medal, it's a community. And in my case, I had an amazing people I connected with during the competition and later. And I could, for example, come to France to studies and got a job in one of the best pastry shops in Lille, which is called Mieft, because I knew people from Worldskills, and Mieft was working with Worldskills, with raising some competitors. So it was kind of the connection which laid the way for me to then to go into to seeing the opportunity and going to work with them. So I think it's very, very not underestimated, but I think when you're competitor, you don't get a grip of full potential of what you're going to get from the community. So if you're a competitor, don't hesitate to really reach out to other competitors and to find out what how they live, and perhaps some of them will be your lifelong friends or your connections in the another world, and that's really best thing which you can do.
How the competition affected your life?
So I mentioned that I went to France to do studies in engineering in food science, and I think the opportunity itself and the feeling that I'm capable of doing it, because I had to do by myself, I had to find everything by myself, find funding, etc., was because of the openness to the international community. And I had a chance to see how it goes in different countries, what the country's culture represent, and I chose France as a place where they share my values around food, around creation, around respect for what you eat. And I think for many people, if we're going back to the idea of stigma in the professions, they see skilled profession as a dead end. In some point, they think if you're doing a skill of, I don't know, automobile mechanic or a cook, you're going to be mechanic or the cook the whole life. Like if you do, I don't know, a degree in jurisdiction, you will be like advocate, and then you will be the manager, and then you have your firm, etc. So you have like a huge potential of developing. And in skill, like, okay, you're going to be cook, and then you're going to be sous chef, and then you're going to be chef, and that's it, because you cannot be more than chef. But it's so untrue. And my life experience is something which proved that in the way of having an 8 year of experience in pastry. And then I did studies to know more about pastry, and I became an engineer because it was something which deeply interested me. And I became like my today's job is being like a visionary for new ingredients in gastronomy. So I kind of bridge a gap between science development, technological progress, and like artisanal skills, and trying to inspire chefs how to make their creations more healthy, more sustainable, more just how to source it more in terms of joy and life quality. And I think this is something which Worldskills really showed me, that this huge tree of opportunities of skilled professional, which you can really choose who you want to be, and you can create your career and how you want to shape your experience and develop and be loyal to your skill. But then it doesn't mean that you cannot get, for example, another education, or you cannot go and switch your professional fusion it with something else, become someone else, etc., because it's all about growth. And I think in this way, I really can't wait to see how the next competition will shape the life of France around Worldskills, and how all the Worldskills community will enjoy being brought to the country of my choice, to France, to experience its amazing gastronomical heritage, something from which I learn every day. And I know that in September in Lyon, I can't wait to see how everything will happen. And I'm really lucky and excited to be there.
I was about to ask you if you were going to Lyon. So you are going?
Yes, I am. You know, after being a champion trust, you have an opportunity to try to be part of extended secretariat. So I will be coming to help with an organization. So my place this time would be not in the spotlight as the Worldskills champion trust, but more in the organizational part of everything. And this is going to be a new experience. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And what would you say to someone experiencing the competition now as a competitor or an expert?
I would say enjoy living the best moments of your life. You will come back a lot to this experience. Try to make as many friends as you can, as many rivals as well, because sometimes it works in the best. Look around you, and sometimes the opportunity of your life will represent itself not in the form you expected, but in another form. And enjoy.
So, Anna, tell us more about your current situation. What are you doing now? Where can people find you?
I mean, few weeks ago, I started a professional Instagram. So if someone who is interested in, because in everyday life today, I work as I said, I am a visionary to bring the science into the life of chefs, and I have an amazing opportunity to work with like the best chefs of our generation, like I don't know, Michelin star chefs, best businesses like PRMA, etc. So I have a very unique position in terms of being like a food professional, and I thought it's a shame that I couldn't share this position and share this vision. So I started to bring like I don't know, small things around about my work. So if you're interested in food science and innovation, please look for me on Instagram. But besides that, I'm really like spending whole effort which I have in my work. So I think sometimes I would love to write a book, but right now it's all about putting into the day-to-day job, which is kind of okay because I'm young. Well, I'll be 17, I will be writing a book, but now it's okay. Instagram is enough.
Okay, when you have the book, I will put the link to a YouTube video about the book here, because this I can put later. So, Anna, thank you very much for doing that. It was really nice.
I mean, thank you for inviting me, and it was such a great opportunity to talk about what passions me and my experience with Worldskills. So thank you.
If you came this far, I know you like it, so thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time.